Well, people outside the big two are getting a pretty big W in the world of the U.S. legal system, at least for now. There's a lot of stuff coming up for DC Comics in particular, where these licenses are going to stop mattering. They have trademarks, of course, but the copyright on characters like Superman is going into the public domain, which is going to allow people to create different characters, based on the originals and the like, which is going to get really, really interesting. We saw Mark Miller talked about this last year, and if you didn't watch my interview with Mark Miller, it's on my little live tab. He was on the show last week. Don't miss it. We had a great interview, and I really appreciate everybody who comes to the live streams. But they're in trouble, is what it comes down to. And they're going to start lashing out. I can only imagine that a lot of these Superman books that are going to be created are going to get legal notices. But the more people who just go and push back, the more that they can't do anything and they'll be inept, which is exactly what needs to happen. We saw this is the whole deal in culture, like comic book cancel culture, the whole mainstream media being ugly, really worked for a long, long time. And then a lot of independent creators started pushing back, making their own books. A lot of people just ran away from Marvel and DC Comics to begin with, and just went elsewhere. And they're hurting as a process. Their cancel tactics don't matter much anymore. And this is something different. I mean, it says cancel in the title, but it's not cancel culture. It's just the end of a legal deal, which is really, really interesting, and we'll get into in just a moment. My name is John Delarose, everybody, the most trusted name in comic news. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Join us here as we talk about all things going on in comic book culture. And I am a comic creator myself. This is my really, really successful Kickstarter that just ended, The Hidden Emperor, and it's still available on BackerKit if you want to support our channel. We made a like Star Wars alternative universe, Warhammer 40k alternative universe with a Terran Imperium that stretches out across the galaxy, and threats, internal and external, are out there right now. Ayla Rin, our super spy, has to deal with those, and in The Hidden Emperor, the Emperor of Humanity gets kidnapped, and she has to unravel a mystery. It's a lot of fun. Please check this out. It's in the description below. You can grab it right here. I've got a paperback hardcover, even got a leather-bound edition that combines our last installment, Overmind. All of my comics are on here. We're not just making things randomly as a tourist here. I've been doing this for years, and of course that's why my readers stick around and love these books so much. That's why we had such a huge success. So please check it out. Thank you so much. It's a great way to support the channel, and I appreciate you for being here. So this is pretty interesting. A U.S. Trademark Office tribunal has canceled the set of superhero trademarks jointly owned by comics giants Marvel and DC at the request of a London-based comic artist. Really cool. Thanks for the artist for actually going through and doing this, because I know it's time-consuming and costly. The USPTO Trademark Trial and Appeal Board ruled for S.J. Rickles' Super Babies Limited after Disney's Marvel and Warner Brothers DC did not file an answer to Super Babies' request to invalidate the marks. Spokespeople and attorneys for Marvel and DC did not respond to requests for comment. Of course not. Super Babies attorney Adam Adler of Reichman, Jorgensen, Lenman, and Feldberg. That's a lot of Men's and Bergs. Interesting. I'm just noticing, said in a statement that ruling was not just a win for our client, but a victory for creativity and innovation. I 100% agree on this. By establishing superheroes' place in public domain, we safeguarded as a symbol of heroism available to all storytellers. Yeah, and a lot of people, I mean, the thing is, like, you see it with the Rippaverse, like they call them Accepts, or sometimes they call them superhumans, or, things like that in different mediums that are not controlled by Marvel and DC to avoid any sort of trademark problem with this. But superhero is like what people understand it to be. Whenever you look at any sort of comic, if you look at, Flying Sparks, you look at this and you say, that's a superhero comic, right? So it is something that's obviously been public domain for a long, long time, and it's something that this is a big win. Now, like Marvel and DC are obviously not going and attacking creators over this, because they know that this is something that's just being used as a generic term at this point and isn't really their own purview. And it's been a long time coming. But this is just the beginning of this sort of like IP thing crumbling. Our copyright system really is broken as it is. The fact that Superman can remain copyrighted at this point, this far into things, is just really, really sad. It does stifle creativity. You should be able to use those characters. It's not like the original creators are alive at this point. It's really ridiculous how long these copyrights have been extended for. And the reason they got this point, and the reason that it is just corruption, really. It's because Disney doesn't want their Mickey Mouse trademark and all that to be gone. Steamboat Willie's hitting public domain, but they really are scared of losing a lot of these things because Walt Disney developed a lot of these properties back in the 1930s. And if everybody could just use this stuff, it kind of goes away. There's a reason certain movies get made and certain characters get made and not others. I mean, the fact that the ones that are in public domain just never do get made because the studios know that they can't build a IP off of it. And that's why stuff like Edgar Rice Burroughs' estate stuff and John Carter, that's why Zorro really aren't built into these giant monolith properties that you see like with Batman and the like, because they know they like have a limit to how they can monetize it because other people can monetize it too. And so they protect this stuff very, very rapidly, and it's just been a sad thing. And superheroes being one of those words is the dumbest things. So 4 federal trademarks covering the term superhero and superheroes. The oldest dates back to 1967, of course. And he writes a comics featuring a team of superhero babies called the Super Babies. According to Rickold, DC accused his company of infringing on the superhero marks and threatened legal action after Super Babies Limited applied for U.S. trademarks covering the Super Babies names. And Marvel and DC have cited their marks in opposing dozens of superhero-related trademark applications at the USPTO, according to the office records. Super Babies petitioned the office to cancel the marks in May. It argued Marvel and DC cannot claim ownership over an entire genre with their trademarks, and that the two competitors cannot own trademarks together. Absolutely true. The case is of this, and there's the case number, and that's the whole deal. Really cool. So I think this is a big deal. I think this is a nice win. It's just a cultural sort of change and a sea change because Marvel and DC, the big two, really do try to monopolize everything and control everything about comics and in the comic industries, and especially in the superhero genres. And we're seeing that like change just with this little victory by one guy who's making his own comic book. Shows that their power is really dwindling and it doesn't matter anymore. These people have built an entire clout structure off of this system of copyrights where, if you think about it, guys, everybody who's like big in comics today, the Jed McKays in the world, the Gail Simones, the Heather Antoses, do they really create anything? Not so much. They're making fan fiction based on some dead guy's creations. They haven't created anything like substantive at these companies in years, and they're living off of these old properties. It needs to stop, and this is why the independent revolution is so important. So I hope you'll join us here. I really appreciate you guys for being there as we fight the fight against this sort of cultural Marxism that they've imposed on everybody. We appreciate you for being there. And please check out the Hidden Emperor graphic novel. This is our independent work. We are growing our own deal here, and it's amazing. Join our community in our Discord. We love to talk comics with comic fans there. It's all in the description below. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back soon.